Hello, hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Michelle Inohosa with the Future Fiction Academy. Our goal is to help writers keep up with the industry by helping them learn AI so they can continue to have a successful career despite corporations starting to use AI for their own purposes and whatnot. So that is our goal here. So I hope to see you all at Future Fiction Academy if you're not already a member. And don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. Today we have an exciting day today. I'm going to cough first though. Excuse me. I still have these darn allergies, but that's fine. We make do. But anyways, today we have an exciting day. Today I'm going to be showing you an interview I did with a wonderful woman named Olivia, who is a writer and has been a writer for quite a many years. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start up that interview. I will be around to chat if anyone has any questions, and I will see you at the end. Hello, my name is Michelle. I'm a staff member of Future Fiction Academy. For those who aren't aware, Future Fiction Academy is an organization that has made it our mission to assist writers in learning AI, to help them keep up in the entertainment industry with their writing. Because with the AI opening doors for anyone to learn how to write, there's a lot of people wanting to get in here. We're trying to teach people how to use it so they can keep up with the big corporations who might start using it for their own benefit to write their own books, and will help keep people in business and just make sure writing is still a profitable thing for the independent author. So today I have Olivia, who is a romantic suspense author. And thank you for joining us, Olivia. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
Of course. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about yourself, whatever you want to mention, before we get started?
Yes, that I've been told by a few people I was crazy to come here on this interview because the witch hunt is on for a lot of people who admittedly use AI. But I think it's like putting the toothpaste back in the tube. It's not going to happen. AI is not going anywhere. So it sits here and I'm very curious. I wanted to learn about it.
I'm glad to have you here. I agree. Like, there's a lot of people that are opposed to AI, but I was actually talking in my previous interview, we were talking about that. And a lot of the reasons people are opposed to AI is because they don't understand what it can and can't do. So that's what we're trying to demystify it through these interviews with different people to explain, to help people understand AI is not the boogeyman. It's not this scary thing that's coming to get us. If we learn to use it and access it, it can actually help our careers and help our process by allowing us to put more out there, to put more of our stories we want to tell out there for the general public. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I agree. And I think it's very much like dictation. I know people who dictate 10,000 words in a few hours. I took lessons, I took classes, I tried, and I figured out it was not for me because I think with the tips of my fingers and I can actually dictate dialogue, but I cannot dictate the entire story. So I learned it and then I decided it was not for me. And I think I have, for now, about the same reaction with the actual writing of the story with the AI, because it's like having a very junior writer and you have to edit. And if there's one thing I hate, it's editing. So I will probably continue using AI for a lot of things, but not for writing the book, because the writing the book, maybe in the future with fine tuning and all those things, it will be possible to get closer to what my own words would be. But at this point, it's not. I learned it just like I learned dictation to figure out if it was for me or if it was not for me.
I think that's actually I've talked with some people who use it for everything. Some people just use it for planning. So there's just a really broad spectrum of how people are using it. That's one of the things I find so interesting. We all kind of our own way for it to work with us. As far as your creative process, how have you found AI has changed or impacted your creative process in general?
First, in my romantic suspense, I write a lot of BBW, plus size girls. And in order to have a plus size girl, I'm going to be caricaturing, but if you look for a fat girl, let's use the word. I'm a fat girl, so I guess I can say that. If you look for a plus size woman on all the sites of all the picture sites, the girl will either be standing on the scale and going, whoops, or sitting at a table and stuffing her face with cake. There
Yeah.
are a few models who are plus size, but we've seen them on all the covers 5,000 times. And I wanted something. One of the advantage I found with AI is I can make up my own pretty women who are curvy or even plus size. And the only problem I have with the AI is if you do a couple and you say to the AI, do a plus size girl, the guy gains 50 pounds in 2 minutes. So you actually have to do the boy and the girl separately and put them together. And I know some, if you want some ethnicity in your character, you also have the same problem with all the database of pictures. The first, my gateway to AI was making new images and making images for that would match what I wanted. It could be bikers, bad boys, plus size girls, anything, or just because my bikers are in Florida, so you I could have bikers on the beach and pictures that I cannot find. If I found beautiful pictures that were made by professional photographers, I would still pay for them, but I don't, so I make them up.
That makes sense. It's just the supply and demand really. There's not really the supply out there, so we have to get it how we can get it as far as like you're saying with the images. Because who's gonna want to cover about like bikers like on a beach if there's like a biker standing in the parking lot? That makes no sense for a book cover.
No.
So,
So that's how I got in. I started with Mid Journey. And there's one thing is now I'm trained with Mid Journey. I don't think I trained the AI. I think the AI trained me. And I know my way around it. And when I try a different system or a different playground to do images, I can't find. It's like you're in somebody else's kitchen and there's got to be all the utensils you want. There, you've got to be the strainer somewhere, but for the love of God, you can't figure out where they've hidden it. So it's the same thing. When I go from Mid Journey to another model, I'm like, where, why, how, and
I get what you mean, 100%. Yeah, it just everyone puts things in such weird places, other than me. Mine are where they're
yes,
supposed to go. Yeah, I get that
yeah, they're
100%.
hiding it.
So they are, and because they know you're going to use it too. That's what it is. They know. So as far as the projects you've been doing, do you have a specific project that comes to mind, or something you want to share where maybe the AI played a significant role, like maybe a book specific book cover? You mentioned like the bikers on the beach. Do you have any other like examples of something like that?
Aside from the images, it's the text tool that is interesting. When you have a series that is 10 book long, in a perfect world, somebody would have told you when you started the series that at the end of each chapter, you've got to take a little notebook and summarize your chapter. When you're 10 books in, you can't remember if the neighbor's name was John, and if his eyes were blue or brown. I have a series where a woman has been pregnant for 2 years. When it finally came for her to have the baby, I actually fixed it by saying she had had a miscarriage in the middle. So the Bible is really important. It's really something you should have to keep all your characters in order to most most readers won't notice if your sofa was blue and now it's green, but I do. I have this inner script girl in my head when I read somebody else's work say, "No, that was not there. The door was on the left. When did it move to the right?" Or so making a Bible with the AI is such a pleasure where you can actually with Claude now you can enter your entire book and have the Bible done. The thing that you have to figure out is what prompt to give it. What elements do you want? So do you want to do a Bible where you just list the characters and their physical attributes? Do you want a prompt that's going to list all the places where the action takes place? Do you want a prompt that tells you what the events were? Or can you find a prompt that does everything at the same time? So at this point, I haven't found the perfect prompt, but I know it's less painful than going through all the books. Also, like a lot of singers say they can't bear to hear themselves sing. When I'm rereading some of my books, I'm like, wow, you wrote that? That's surprisingly good. But some other books, I'm like, oh my God, no, I got to fix that. And if I read it, then I want to rewrite it or unpublish it. So having somebody else do the rereading is perfect.
Oh,
So
that's good.
for
Yeah.
the Bible, and I think somebody who masters AI or who's got the perfect prompt for Bible making could actually find a job, create a job to do other people's Bible.
100%. There's going to be a lot of new opportunities that open up for AI,
Yeah,
for people who are getting to AI creative, because there's going to be people that don't know how and that maybe want someone to do a book cover for them with the AI, or want, like you're saying, a
and
Bible.
yeah, and so a lot of people are afraid it's going to take away their jobs, and I don't think so. It's not going to take away the writing because it can give you plotting ideas, but it's not going to know what makes a good book. You can tell the I want each chapter to end with a cliffhanger. It's not the same thing that handmade. Now, the other thing I do a lot is translations. Most of my books are translated in 5 languages, so it's I write them in English, I translate them myself in French, and then there's Spanish, German, and Italian. Yeah, that's five
Oh,
languages.
wow.
And I think the future of translation is going to change and it's going to be easier. Now, I'm not telling you you can't get your books translated by AI because we're not there yet. But because I'm bilingual, I translate my own books from English to French. And how can I say this? It's my own book. So if I translate a sentence into French and it doesn't sound good into French, the character can say a totally different thing with the same meaning because it's my book. So if
Yeah.
I want the French version to be different, but if you're a professional translator and you're translating somebody else's book, you can't do that. You have to stay
Mhm.
close to the text and say whatever the original author has meant. Yet, I have tried using DeepL to translate a book, and I have put the entire book into DeepL in English and I ask it for a French translation. Sometimes the idiomatic expressions will be fabulously translated. Like they will find the exact perfect, like for instance, in English, you say it's not kosher. In French, you say ce n'est pas très catholique, which means it's not very Catholic. And Deeple was able to find that when somebody said it's not kosher, it translated to it's not very Catholic. So that was
Oh, wow.
great. But if you have something like, it's an old fashioned expression. I don't think people use it anymore, but you're pulling my leg.
Hmm. I heard that
Oh,
a lot, actually. Yeah.
yeah, okay. So if you translate into French, it's the person is actually taking the leg of the person and pulling the leg. And it doesn't make any sense because it doesn't have a meaning in French.
Hmm.
So sometimes you're pulling my leg and something is definitely lost in translation.
Yeah.
The AI can make the work faster, but cannot do a finished product. You
Hmm.
have to have a translator or at least a professional editor go back to the text and read the text. And but it's going to make translators work a lot faster and a lot easier. I may be tomorrow, some translators will have a picture of me, they'll put little needles inside. But I really think, at least for French, because that's the only other language I really work with, at least for French, it was helpful. It saved me
Yeah.
some time.
And I think that does open doors for translators to actually be able to do more translation. If the AI is doing 80% of it, then you're going in and just reading it, correcting, and doing the last 20%. With a translator, that means you could do more translations and make more money by getting more books translated too.
Yeah, I don't think we're up to 80%. Think if the AI makes your work 50% easier, that's a lot. But then it also depends. Do you like editing? If, like me, you hate editing, then it would be easier. It will be more time consuming, but it will be easier to translate your book automatically. I mean, by yourself in the traditional way from A to Z. But if you don't mind editing, that's a good way to work.
Okay, that's good to know. So we've actually covered some of this, but how do you feel like AI is actually changing the landscape of creative writing as a whole? Like, how do you see things changing?
I see more people getting access to translations, which some the French market or the German market or the Italian market, I don't know how much they will like it. Usually, when you translate a book, it means your book has made enough money in its original language to pay for a translation. That
Okay.
means there is a sort of quality control that has been made by the reader who voted with their money. If you don't need that quality control and it's not such a high barrier to entry, we may see a lot of not so good books being translated.
Mhm.
But then again, a book that doesn't find its audience in one language can find it in another language. One of my best selling books in French, I can't give it away in English.
And I think that's one of the things too. Even when self-publishing became a thing, there was an influx of not so great books being put out there, but eventually the ebb and flow righted itself, and now we do have a lot of good quality books too. I think
Yes.
it's the same transition period like that we're going to have with AI for a while.
Yeah. And everybody was it was funny because somebody said, "Oh, that book was bad. It was full of spelling mistakes. I can see it was done by AI." And I bit my tongue, but I was thinking to me, AI doesn't do typos. AI
Yeah.
doesn't do mistakes. So I think the fact that there were so many spelling mistakes shows that it was human made. Still, an AI written book requires a lot of work from the uh, author who runs the AI. If you try to write a love scene, either the heroine is wearing five bras or he's removing, he's like undressing her 10 times in the sex scenes. Yeah. Um, Seriously, I don't think we can be replaced. I don't think we're going to be. Let's put it this way: when you handwrite, you're walking somewhere. If you're using AI, maybe you're riding a horse, but it's a very, very moody horse. And it's a horse that won't go where you want it to go. It's the horse that's going to throw you off on the side of the road. Um, so I don't think we have a real risk of being invaded by really uh, a huge quantity of AI written books that
Mhm.
will find their audience, not in the near future.
Yeah. And I think the other thing about that is too, the AI can write a scene, but it doesn't understand what it feels like to be witnessing or even be feeling what that character's feeling. So while it can write, it doesn't really understand the emotion that a writer does that they put into it. So I think that's something else too that maybe people are kind of like not realizing it.
Yeah. However, let's say you want to start working on TikTok, which is one of my plans, or you just want to publish images on Instagram and you are lazy, like I am, you can go to AI and say, give me 20 hashtags for romantic suspense. Give me 20 hashtags for this and that sort of book. And you save time this way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been using it myself, like to just plan posting because I'm trying to get into social media, just planning when I should post and just figuring out what to post is what I've been using for right now
Yeah.
for in that regard.
And sometimes when you need to brainstorm and you want to ask a question, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and your best friend is your best friend, but if you call her at 2 o'clock in the morning, she's going to say, "What the hell is wrong with you?"
You may not have that
You,
best friend for very long.
yeah. So you can go in at the AI and ask, want to, okay, I had this crazy idea the other day. What
Mhm.
about, and I've never written a cozy mystery in my life, but I was drinking bubble tea.
Bubble tea.
And I was thinking, oh, bubble tea should be a cool, the poison bubble tea.
Oh, that'd be fun.
For,
The little things are actually the poison.
and I was thinking, what else could we have with bubbles? So I came
Mhm.
up with bubble gum. So you could also have a poison bubble gum. And then I
Mhm.
was trying to think of what else could you do if it was a series? And like I told you, I don't write cozy mystery, but my mind goes there and I have to have the answer. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, please give me other things with bubbles. And the only thing it came up with that could be used is the bubble wrap.
Bubble. Oh, like the poppy.
Yeah, yeah, you could
Okay.
actually wrap someone in bubble wrap and kill them with
Oh,
bubble
these.
wrap. Yes, exactly.
Don't ask me
uh,
why I have that on my desk, but I do.
okay. It was not very conclusive with the bubble thing, but you could have you're brainstorming and you want title for books and you're I'm thinking I have a friend who has a series where her her titles are just so it's just a kiss, just a love, just a and after a while you think, okay, just a what? And so you can go and research it and come up with 5,000 just kick in the ass. And that's not very romantic, but
Ah, some people have fetishes.
yes, unless it's a fetish, it's not romantic.
Excuse me. So, when you're working with AI, what advice do you have to someone who's just getting into AI that maybe is trying to figure out how to mesh the originality and authenticity with what they're doing with the AI? Do you have any advice for someone that's maybe starting to learn how to do that?
Do you need, if I have a tip for telling them how to do it?
Yeah. Or like your method, how you do it so people can learn from that.
I had tinkered with ChatGPT last summer when a friend of mine had introduced me to it. And I understand there's a thing called the snowflake method where you
Mhm.
start with a concept and then from the concept you go. So she had shown me, and I think there's a article online about that. Like you give the AI the concept, and then you first start by asking the AI, do you know the um, snowflake method? And then it will list you the 10 steps. And you say, let's do step one with this concept, and then let's do step two, and so on. So I thought that was interesting, but I have a very logical and methodological mind. I'm a lawyer by trade. And I like processes. And that's why when I met Elizabeth in September at NINC and I learned about the FFA, and okay, there is not a class that I haven't taken. I'm a number two learner. So show me a class, and for me, it's like a bright and shiny object, and I will go take the class and learn. And I was not sure if I was going to use it. I was not sure it was going to be useful, but I knew I wanted to know. Like with dictation, it's not for me, but I want to be sure it's not for me.
Yeah.
Whereas AI, it's not for me for writing yet. I'm maybe one day it will be, but at this point it's not. I'm still going to painfully and so slowly write my books. But I have found that it is fascinating. And the processes I've learned about having ideas for, let's say, let's say you're a crazy person and you decided that you want to write a Christmas romance for the next 10 years. So you're going to go to the AI and you're going to say, give me 10 concepts for a Christmas novella. And then you're going to flesh them out. And you can spend, depending on how fast you write, but you could spend 2 months writing 10 Christmas novellas and then have your Christmas novellas ready to go every October for the next 10 years. And this is possible if you have learned the process and you have learned how it works. And I lost the original question, which is what kind of advice I would give to somebody who my mind just went full circle.
You're good. It
Um,
was still a good answer. You're good.
uh,
And then,
so decide what you want to do with it. And if you have ethical issues with it, which I understand some people have, then don't do it. But if you feel like this is a tool, the toothpaste is not going back in the tube, it's there. It's if you were a monk and you were copying the Bible with your quill and your ink, and you saw the printer arrive, you thought it was the end of the world, and it was not the end of the world. It just made books more readily available for everybody.
Mhm.
So I think fighting it is a losing battle, and what you do with it depends on you. Depends,
Mhm.
it's your choice.
100%. I think one of the worries I have for people who maybe are more hesitant or on the fence is this is going to be the same thing that happens. It's just historically, if you don't keep up with the technology and you get left behind, you very well could be struggling to make ends meet with like with that technology around. So that's one of the reasons I'm like, before you judge it, try it. If it's not for you,
Yeah.
fine, but keep in mind other people are going to be using this technology and learning how to use it, and they're going to be a step ahead because they're willing to embrace it. And I think that's one of the things that some people might be afraid of. But just like with the computer, when the computer came out, writing a book with the computer was cheating because you're no longer typewriting. When the typewriter came out, that was cheating. You're no longer handwriting. It's like what you were saying about the
Yeah.
transcriber. It's all the same thing, but you need to learn the new technology to keep up with the times. At least that's my feelings
Yeah.
on it.
No, and word processing was a life changer. Anybody who's my age, and I'm in my 60s, so I started writing memos or papers in law school with a typewriter. And when 82 came around and I had my first personal computer, it was amazing because you could actually look at it and then rechange the phrase and in the middle of the work without having to retype everything. It was so maybe those who are pure in the sense that they want the pain of creation. I'm being silly saying that, but some people will still make gourmet food, and some people will make nuggets, chicken nuggets. And I like nuggets with a little bit of ketchup, but I also like gourmet food. It's not the same product. I'm assuming that in a few years, with the progress of, and maybe not even a few years, maybe a few months, because everything goes so fast with AI, it will be possible to have a very fleshed out plot and have someone write a book very quickly. But those will probably be chicken nuggets, and there will still be people who are looking for gourmet cook that books that have more substance, book that have a better quality of writing. I think my main problem for writing with AI is I'm a pantser. If I already have the book, if I already have the plot, I know how the story goes, and the story's already written in my head, and I don't want to write it. I'm bored.
Yeah.
Um,
One fun thing that you might want to try, I actually did a video on role playing with AI for Panthers. You should check that out if you
oh,
haven't. You actually use it to role play with your one character to another, and you go back and forth to create the story, do the actions and the values and stuff. It's actually pretty fun.
okay. You're a gamer, right?
I am, yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it gave you that idea. Excuse me. Okay. So how about during your creative process, have you ever came into like just a moment where the AI just like threw you for a loop and surprised you with the output or what it was doing or something like that?
Nope. Sometimes it hallucinates. It's going to, like, I try to have it help me setting up process for emailing my readers on a regular basis, and I can't remember what it was saying, but it was like right every other day and say, no, this is harassment. You can't.
Don't you tell me what to do.
Yeah. And but no, otherwise, possibly because I don't use it for writing, I never had writing a small town romance and having the temperature set wrong so a dinosaur comes crossing the street.
And then it eats the heroin and then the story's over.
Yeah. No, it's nothing has shocked me that way.
And as far as what you're doing with AI now, what challenges have you faced when trying to bring AI into your new workflow, if any?
Um, I think my main challenge is coming to the computer and starting to write and not go on the forum I'm in, lose time on Facebook and watch cooking videos on YouTube. So I don't think the AI can do that for me yet. Maybe one day I will let it take control of my computer and say, no, you can't look at anything until you've written 2,000 words. Yeah, for I think the main benefit I got from it was helping me summarize the books for which I have no Bible and for which I should have been writing a summary of each chapter as I went along.
So when you do that, when you actually use it to summarize chapters, are you then just like putting them into a Bible yourself, or how are you actually formatting those when you're doing that? Is it just each chapter has its own page in like a Word
Yeah,
document, or
chapter. So I'm still tinkering with the process, but I've adopted a chapter by chapter method and an address book. Like instead of having the address, so it's basically a database where I would have the name, the first name, the nickname, and then a possible age at a fictitious date. Oh, yeah, because my bikers are now historical romance because they take place in the 1990s. So I'm 20th
oh, that's
century.
good.
Um, so I gave them birth date in the 80s. So computing how old they are now because I'm writing the next generation. I'm not sure the AI can help me with that. But every time I tackle on it a new task, okay, is there any way I can make this easier with the AI?
Mhm. That
And
makes
there's
sense.
things that I haven't figured out, but like I said before, I'm very lazy. So anything that will make my life easier will be perfect.
That's actually really good. I like the idea of the story by just doing the chapters, summaries, and all that to keep track. 'Cause it does get to be a pain going back over. What was this? What was that? What was it constantly? I have
Yeah.
memory issues, so for me, I have to take very ample notes just to know what the heck I'm doing.
Yeah.
As far as the AI and maybe understanding your audience, has the AI influenced your understanding of your audience or what your audience wants or anything like that when you're doing when you're working with AI?
No, no. I guess if I had looked at, I know some of the people who collect data do it with AI and they do a market study, but it's going to sound very snobbish, but I don't follow trends. For instance, I have friends who are doing really, really well with dark romance. I cannot write dark romance. I don't think a guy who tries to kill you and then rapes you and then decides he fell in love with you after he raped you. That's not my cup of tea. And dark romance is what's really doing it now. So of course I'm making it sound darker than it is. In a lot of cases, it's not as dark. And for instance, I don't know, I know reverse harem is doing very well. Now, I would like to see AI writing because writing a sex scene with AI, I understand, is quite a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But writing a sex scenes with three or four people in the sex scene, I guess it will be like Mid Journey at the beginning when you would have a guy with three or four arms. Yeah,
15 fingers on each hand.
so for every person who's watching this and thinking AI is dangerous, no, it's not replacing us. It's helping us. It's a new tool. You can use it if you want to use it. Like some people still want to write. I have a friend, she still writes with a fountain pen and paper. And then
Oh,
she
wow.
has someone type it. She's 80 years old since she said
Mm.
she was too old to get on computers. You decide how you're going to work,
And
but don't be afraid because it's not replacing you, at least not now.
yeah, hopefully never. Hopefully we still have that need. And I'm pretty. Here's the thing: everyone's always going to bring a unique perspective. So I think no matter what, there's always going to be a need for writers, whether it be for novels or maybe screenplays for movies, television,
Mm,
that sort of thing. It's always going to need, in my opinion, a human touch. So I don't think the chance of us ever getting written out of work is there. at least not in the foreseeable future. Who knows what's going to happen 100 years from now if we're even still like around, the planet still exists. Well, but I think that we're safe for now, and I think the fear right now is just because it's unknown.
Yeah. And the, and you will still, even when it will work well to write, you still have to decide what to write. And it requires a human touch, I think.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. What's one of the most important things you've learned, just like about creativity, whether it be yours or just seeing other people's creativity through working with the AI?
I've seen people do extraordinary thing with Midjourney. I've seen people who are really incredibly creative doing images that are they're just doing for themselves, not to make a cover or not to make a picture, but I've seen really fabulous stuff. And then I have a friend who masters images so well. She took a picture of me and she played around with it, and I look like I could be the headmistress at Hogwarts.
Oh,
I
that's
look
awesome.
very stern, and I think it's one of the better, not even picture of me.
Mhm.
That I mean, you if you know me, it's me. If you don't know me, it's just someone with an old lady with gray hair. Um, and I think that's also dangerous because you could actually make fake news with it, but that's a different topic.
Yeah, and that's been happening even without the AI. Like people are able
Yeah.
to do stuff like with good enough Photoshop skills or After Effects skills and Premiere skills to do that already before the even I was AI was even a thing. But
Mm,
it does make it a little easier it seems. But I think we're gonna have
yeah.
to come to the we're gonna have to come to the understanding that there has to be certain safeguards, but those are things that are still being worked out because technology is so new right now.
Yeah.
So, what are your future plans for AI? Would you plan to just keep using it for book covers? Do you plan to start using it for like maybe plotting, outlining? What are your future plans?
So not plotting because I don't plot. Yeah, but maybe first I'm going to keep on taking the Future Fiction Academy lessons, and I like the new structure where you have classes in with step by step, because some stuff you just learn as you go along, but if somebody chews it out and spells it out for you, it's easier to digest.
Hmm.
And see what I can do for coming up with a new series concept. I mainly write bikers, but
Hmm.
so far I've had them be private detective. My bikers are drug smugglers, but they're in Florida, so they don't import illegal drugs. They import from Canada and Florida medical drugs that
Okay,
retired people can't afford. So they're Robin Hood thing. So
gotcha.
going in that spirit, I may brainstorm with the AI and think of other activities they could do that would be compatible with a biker or with a bad boy or almost bad boy, and still not lower their testosterone too much.
Gotcha. Like the
Yeah.
masculine characters.
And I hope I can make progress with imaging
Hmm.
and maybe learn to do marketing schedule. And it's actually good for, I think Elizabeth has one hour on that, which is you want to release your book on August 1st. So, what schedule? When do you need it? Doing back planning,
Hmm.
like how many weeks do you need to write it, how many weeks does your editor need to edit it, and then how many weeks do you need to take in the edits, do you do a second round of edits, and then so do the back planning, which you can actually do with a, a planner or a lot of the apps that are there. But if the AI can help you do that, then why not use that?
Yeah. I actually saw that class where she actually prompted it to give her like a step by step. Between these weeks, do this. Between these weeks, do that. And I found that for someone like I have ADD. Like it's hard to stay on track, but having that in front of me a lot of times helps. Okay, I have 1 week left to do this. I need to get on the ball. It just keeps me on track.
Yep.
So I find that very helpful. Yeah. Other than Midjourney, are there any other AIs you're using other than Midjourney right now? Which why?
I'm using Rexy because I'm learning it. I as I take the class, I'm trying stuff. I tried doing things like, because I'm the crazy person who's thinking about writing the 10 Christmas novellas in the future, coming up with the Christmas tropes. So making a list of Christmas tropes and then trying to play around with them and see how to come up with an original that doesn't look like a Walmart movie. I know I need a dog. If I don't have a dog, it's not going to work. It's got to be a Labrador Retriever. I'm aware of that. Um, but so I've been using Rexy and the already created prompt and playing around with them and seeing if I could come up with some ideas for some new novels.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Mid-Journey and Rexy, I'm on board with that. I like
Yeah.
that. I like Mid-Journey a lot too. I've been using also
I
Leonardo. I've been using that.
I've tried Dali. Oh, and I also played around with ChatGPT. Now has, I can't remember what the name is, Hero something, Cartoon Hero, or
Mhm.
it does coloring book images.
Oh, I
And
haven't played with that yet.
yeah, so I have a friend who has a niece who's crazy about unicorns. So I made her a page with unicorns frolicking in a field. And then you
That's
have,
awesome.
yeah, plenty of pretty unicorns. And I was thinking to myself that people who make coloring books are now have a magical tool. And what's going to make the difference is the quality of the drawing, because anybody, even I who can't draw to save my life, I can go in and say, draw me a Christmas tree for a coloring book. And in 3 seconds, I'll have a Christmas tree for a coloring book. So it's making it easier. I don't think it's going to kill the market of coloring books, because when you walk by in a grocery stores in the US, I was at Whole Food and they had around Christmas and they had coloring books, and the girl said, "Oh yeah, we replenish them every night. We sell them out all the time."
Yeah, and I think with coloring books, a lot of it comes down to your creativity. What images you're having it create are gonna what makes it stand out. If everyone's just doing like a generic coloring book, there might be problems with supply and demand. But if people are putting out the unique ideas for the coloring books, I think they really stand out. And I think
Hmm.
they're gonna get sales, a lot of sales
Yeah,
from it.
and if you have a unique idea but you cannot draw, then the AI is the perfect tool to help you get it. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, if you're going to just say let's do a mandala, it's there was one tool when I was a kid, it was called Spirograph. Does it still
Oh, the
exist?
Spirograph, I remember those. I've
Okay.
seen the little travel versions. I haven't seen the big ones anymore, but I've seen like the little travel ones they have.
Okay, so it was like this. I think AI is like the spirograph, because
Mhm.
before that you used to have a compass and it was very complicated. And with the
Mhm.
spirograph, now you could make a beautiful mandala in 3 minutes with having no talent at all, except the one of holding the thing to the paper.
Oh,
AI for drawing is the new
yeah.
mandala, is the new
I'm wondering
spiral.
if it. I'm wondering if it is Spygraph. Tennis Spygraph, at least in the U.S., had a bunch of different shapes and circles, and it had the frame you would just draw along like that. Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah. And it's got little crented things, so it would be a triangle, it would turn
Yeah.
around, and yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I
Yeah.
used to love that until my
Yeah.
dog chewed up all the pieces.
Oh,
They didn't work so
okay.
well after that. I appreciate you being here. Do you have anything you'd like to promote, whether it be like a book, Facebook, Instagram, whatever? Anything you'd like to promote for
Well,
people?
I hope I don't get turned into a wax doll with people putting pins into me. But really, though, I guess people who hate AI are not watching this video
Yeah.
when it airs. So, yeah, try it. If you have doubts, figure out if it's for you or if it's not for you. And if it's not for you, then you continue working without a regret the old way. And if you find that it's a tool for you for whatever reason, making your Facebook ad backgrounds or posting on Instagram or whatever.
100%. I think at least give it a try. If it's not for you, it's fine. But don't hate on it until you actually try it, because that's
Yeah.
just for all you know, it's going to be very useful to you. I know for certain people, myself included, I'm actually using it like an age accommodation because there's some limits that I have based on my health issues that the AI actually steps in and still it makes it possible for me to actually write a book now where I couldn't before because of my health issues. So for that, I think it's huge too. So I think a lot of things that are going to come across are also going to be people that now have the opportunity to write. It's opening doors for people who couldn't write before, who now they can because they have this tool. And I think that's also a very huge thing for people.
Cool.
I appreciate you being here, Olivia. Against Olivia, this is Olivia. She's a romantic suspense author. We really appreciate you having you here, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. Hello, my name is Michelle. I'm staff.
And then it tries to start all over again on me. It just wanted you guys to have an encore. Thank you all for joining me. My hair has gotten very flat. Thank you all for joining me today. I appreciate you all stopping. Don't forget, if you're not already part of the Future Fiction Academy, there's a little, what do you call it, a banner down there with the link. Feel free to join us. We have a lot of exciting things coming up. We have a lot of basic classes, intermediate classes, and advanced classes in AI and how to use AI in your writing process as an author. We'd love to see you there. We have a very positive, very helpful community, and we'd love to have more people in there. So please feel free to join us and don't forget to like and subscribe on this channel so you can see all the other interviews, our Write With Me's, and everything else exciting we have coming up. So until next time, I'll let you all go. Once again, Michelle from Future Fiction Academy. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye, all.